Hi, welcome back. So let's talk world rankings and summer tour predictions. Here are the rankings after the Six Nations. A few changes. We see France leapfrog New Zealand into second, although incredibly close on points. Ireland and England and Australia and Scotland stay where they were, but you see there's a big drop-off in points between Ireland and England. And then we go down to Argentina and Wales, who also swap places. So Wales slipping down to 9th, and now that is quite significant, maybe not right now, but if you are 9th, that means you're not seeded at all for the next World Cup draw, whenever that happens. Indeed, when you're 1 to 4, you're in the top band for seedings, 4 to 8, you're in the next band, and below that, you're probably in with two big boys in the World Cup. So, that is something to keep an eye on in the future. Anyway, let's look at these summer tour series. We have South Africa versus Wales. That's 1 versus 9. Then New Zealand versus Ireland, 3 versus 4. Then Australia versus England, 5 and 6. So another 1 place between them. And then another 2 sides with just 1 place between them in Argentina and Scotland. And then another big disparity with Japan and France. So you've got 3 of those tours really close on the rankings, 2 quite a long way apart. Now, the general question I have really for these tours is, how is each individual country going to use these tours? Is it going to be full World Cup preparation with their best team, treating it like a series of knockouts? Are they going to have it as a full development tour where they try a lot of new players and rest some of their more established players? Or is it some mix of the two? So let me know how you think all these sides are going to use the tours. So in no particular order, let's talk about these tours. South Africa versus Wales. First ranked team versus 9th ranked team. 3 tests. What a tough fixture. I mean, I have mentioned before that the WRU make the hardest fixtures for Wales, and I think this one is possibly a step too far. I thought the autumn was a bit too hard, and these 3 tests is going to be super tough for any side, let alone a side that is shorn of some of its best players still and is on low form and haven't quite got their attack together from that Six Nations. So this could be painful, or you could see it as a shot to nothing, to be honest. Let me know what you think there. But it is a real possibility that Wales, they could get smashed, absolutely. And if they don't put out their full-strength team, then it could be worse. So I don't see much choice apart from them going there with their full-strength team. I don't know if that's what they wanted to do anyway. I mean, we see what happened when they tinkered with Italy. They lost to Italy, so you don't really want to tinker too much with South Africa at home. From a South African point of view, it's probably the perfect tour for them, or the perfect touring side coming to them. It should be a tough game, but they would expect to win, and it's a good launch pad to go into the Rugby Championship. They get a few weeks off after the tour, and then they go into the Rugby Championship. So for them, I think pretty good. For Wales, could be a bit of a hiding to nothing. What will they learn out of it if they do indeed lose 3-0, which is my prediction, that they should lose 3-0, I think, to South Africa at home, the number 1 team against the number 9. But, Wales, again, nothing to lose maybe. If they get 1 win, that could be a massive result, to be honest. And another question, if they do lose 3-0 and none of them are close, do then the WRU go and sack Pivac, or is it too late for that anyway? It's a long shot, but I just wonder if that could be on the cards if they really perform poorly in South Africa. And also, how many of their top players are going to be back as such? Alan Wynne-Jones, I imagine, will be back and touring. Can they get Tipperick back? Can they get North back? That'll be interesting to even see if it's worth taking them on tour, if they should have longer to recover. Let me know what you think of that tour and how it's going to go. Now, apologies if it's a bit noisy in the background. Children having fun, how dare they? But what will be noisy as well is New Zealand versus Ireland. In New Zealand, it's going to be an absolute cracker. And on paper, 3rd place versus 4th place. We know Ireland have had good wins over New Zealand in the past, and that's going to motivate New Zealand even more to get their revenge, if you like, at home. It's going to be super tough. It's going to reveal a lot about both sides, particularly Ireland. We know they've been going very well up here in the Northern Hemisphere. How can they translate that down in the Southern Hemisphere in New Zealand? New Zealand may well have noted that if they get extreme line speed, big ruck contest on Ireland, that's how they can disrupt their fast game plan. So can they do that? And New Zealand, I think, do have a bit of a point to prove. In the autumn, they were a bit disappointing, to be honest, not quite up to their high standards. Please tell me I'm wrong. But also, I'm not sure the standard of the New Zealand sides in Super Rugby is quite up to their previous standards so far. But, they could well come back with absolutely fantastic performances. So can't wait to see how this will go. Ireland, I am sure, will go fully stacked. No resting players. This is an acid test for them. Can Sexton, for example, get through 3 tests in a row? I don't know. Or will they have to change him around? But yeah, they'll treat it like the knockout stages in the World Cup. If Ireland get a win, I think they'll say, yeah, not bad. If they get a series win, that is absolutely massive. My prediction, though, is it will go 2-1 to New Zealand. I think Ireland are definitely good enough to get a win. New Zealand at home, I think, probably would have too much. If it went 3-0 to anyone, that would be either warning signs to Ireland or massive warning signs to New Zealand. So cannot wait for this tour. Let me know how you think it will go. On to Australia versus England. Now, Australia always seem to play England and they've arranged another one. However, it does look like it could be really close. Despite England's record against Australia being absolutely fantastic, I think it's 8 tests in a row under Eddie Jones, but England go away to Australia. England haven't been playing that great. Their systems haven't been looking good. Their selection definitely has been poor. Australia, I'm not sure how good they're going to be, but at home, going to be tough. I really think it could go either way, to be honest. Even though I think England will need their best players, and I'm pretty sure Eddie Jones will go fully stacked because that's kind of what he does, I probably would rest a few players who have played a lot, especially in the Lions. The likes of Itoje I would probably not take, give him a summer off. Curry maybe if he gets back fit, give him the summer off. So I'd give a few players the summer off, but apart from that, pretty fully stacked. And I will do a standalone video, as the domestic season progresses to see who's in form and who I think should go on that England tour for sure. Let me know who you think should go. But Australia, they're going to be fired up. We know when England toured their last with Eddie Jones, it was a 3-0 win to England. Certainly built on huge defence from England. So Australia will want to try and put that right. My prediction, well, I think England will probably have it. They do have Australia's number. I think they've got lots of good players. And if Eddie Jones can actually decide to put a balanced side out and sort out their attack and defence, big ifs, I think England will come away with a 2-1 win. I'm not sure it's going to go 3-0 to anyone. But yeah, 2-1 either way, maybe. But I'm just tipping England for this one. Now let's talk about Argentina Scotland. Again, 1 ranking place between them. Both sides will be absolutely desperate to win. Now, I've got a feeling that Townsend could use this as a bit of a statement. They've had problems with the team, off-field discipline, key players like Russell Hogg-Price, going off script a little bit there. Could he use it as a statement and actually rest some of these players, sending a message that, they are not indispensable, and maybe big roles for Hastings, Scot and Hutchinson in the centres, Darge, Velicott, maybe give some different players some starts, and maybe leave a few key players at home. I don't know, that would be a massive call. Maybe Gray as captain for the tour. Let me know if you think that's a good idea, or they should just go with absolutely everyone. Argentina in 2021 had a torrid rugby championship, 0 wins. In the autumn, the only win they got was against Italy. So them at home, sensing blood, Scotland finishing on a low in the Six Nations, will definitely fancy a series win. And I think that home advantage might be enough for them to get over the line. So I'm predicting 2-1 to Argentina. I think Scotland do have so much attacking potential. They should really get at least 1 win, but let me know what you think there. I don't see a 3-0 either way again. Then finally, Japan versus France, 10th versus 2nd. This is a bit of a weird tour, I've said it before. They're probably not going to face Japan in the World Cup. Does Japan's playing style reflect a side they're definitely going to play in the World Cup? I'm just not sure at all. But only 2 tests just leads me to think they might treat it like they did the tour of Australia, where they leave a lot of their first choice players at home, give the rest a go. They've got so much depth and talent. I think, they could do really well anyway. Plus, they kind of know their first team. They've got a settled first choice team. Do they need to take them? I'm not so sure. So I think we may see another kind of tour of Australia where they take a second choice team. My prediction, I think that second choice team should be good enough to win 2-0. I think the strength in depth in France is super strong. Japan should be great to watch at home. But I just see France having too much in defence, too much power, just knocking Japan backwards if they can keep their defensive organisation, which they should do under Sean Edwards. So yeah, 2-0 to France. Let me know if you disagree. So let me know what you think of all those tours, who you think's going to win, how you think the sides are going to use the summer tours as preparation for the World Cup. Any comments below, and I'll catch you next time.